Ever feel like some ancient wisdom could help you unlock your potential today? I mean, that's what we're diving into today, Parashat Nitzavim, to see how relevant it is to your life.
Okay, yeah.
We're going to be breaking down a study by Rabbi Ari Haber,
Right.
who's known for making these texts accessible, even if you've never, like, opened a Torah.
Yeah, what's fascinating about his approach on this one, on Nitzavim, is this focus on how this portion speaks to, like, this universal need to connect with knowledge, no matter where you're coming from, no matter your background.
It's like he's throwing open the doors and saying, everyone's invited to this learning party.
Absolutely.
And he makes a point of saying that the Torah is for all of Israel.
Yes.
He even uses this phrase, from your wood chopper to your water drawer.
I love that.
Like everyone, from everyday folks to scholars.
Yeah, and that's important because, like, he's highlighting the diversity of how we each, learn best.
Okay.
Think about it. A wood chopper and a water drawer need different skills, right?
Right.
One's bringing things down, kind of extracting, while the other one draws things up bit by bit, right? So Rabbi Haber connects this to different learning styles.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it's like some of us are meant to like dive deep into a subject while others build understanding more gradually.
Exactly. And neither is better than the other, which is a point that Rabbi Haber really emphasizes, especially when he talks about how the Torah isn't some distant thing in the heavens or across the sea.
Right. It's right here, ready for us to engage with it, each in our own way.
Yes.
I like that.
It's accessible.
Yeah. No pressure to be a scholar to find meaning.
Yeah. And it connects to your life because knowledge shouldn't be intimidating or exclusive, right?
Right.
Rabbi Haber reminds us that we all have this responsibility to connect with learning.
And that responsibility ties directly back to the wood chopper and water drawer, right?
Yes.
What's Rabbi Haber's take on how those professions actually play into this?
Well, consider this, right? The wood chopper brings down, perhaps symbolizing the extraction of like deep knowledge.
Okay.
The water drawer, on the other hand, brings things up, maybe representing this gradual building of understanding through application and connection.
Okay.
Which one resonates more with you? Do you see yourself in either of those descriptions?
Okay, yeah, I'm really seeing how this idea of different learning styles applies to me.
Yeah.
But Rabbi Haber doesn't stop there.
Right.
He brings up this really powerful image from the portion itself,
Okay.
where God makes the heavens and the earth, and everyone is a witness to this covenant.
Wow.
It's like he's saying we're accountable for our learning, not just to ourselves, but to everyone else.
It is a profound idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we often think of learning as this solitary pursuit.
Right.
But Rabbi Haber reminds us that it's like inherently interconnected with the world around us.
Yeah.
It's not just about, acquiring knowledge in a vacuum.
Right.
It's about how that knowledge ripples out and impacts others.
So how does this idea of being witnesses to each other's growth, how does that play out in our lives today?
That's a great question.
It feels particularly relevant in our modern world where everyone seems to be, shouting their opinions from their own little corners.
Exactly. And especially in a world that is just saturated with information.
Right.
It's so easy to just feel overwhelmed and kind of retreat into our own echo chambers. But Rabbi Haber's challenging us to be more than just passive consumers of knowledge.
Right.
He's calling us to actively participate in this collective journey of learning and growth.
So it's not just about our own individual responsibility to learn and grow.
Right.
It's also about creating spaces where we can actually learn from each other.
Yes.
But how do we even begin to do that when we can't seem to agree on anything these days?
Yeah, I mean, that's where this whole idea of God in exile comes in, right?
Okay.
Rabbi Haber suggests that just as God chose to experience exile alongside the Israelites,
Okay.
knowledge itself can feel very fragmented and scattered in our modern world.
Wow, that's a really interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
So instead of viewing knowledge as this distant objective thing,
Right.
we can think of it as something that needs to be gathered piece by piece through connection and collaboration.
Precisely. And just as the Israelites were called to rebuild their community and their relationship with God after the exile, we too have a responsibility to rebuild our relationship with knowledge and with each other.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But what does that rebuilding actually look like in a practical sense? It feels like a pretty daunting task.
Well, I think it starts by recognizing that knowledge isn't a zero-sum game.
Okay.
Right? We don't have to compete for it or guard it jealously.
Right.
In fact, Rabbi Haber would argue that knowledge flourishes when it's shared, when it's challenged, when it's debated.
So instead of just surrounding ourselves with people who think exactly like us,
Right.
we need to be open to learning from those who hold different perspectives.
Yes.
Even if, maybe especially if, those perspectives challenge our own assumptions.
Absolutely. It's about shifting our mindset from one of individual acquisition
Okay.
to one of collective exploration.
Okay.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Even the simplest act of asking a question
Mm-hmm.
can be an act of rebuilding that connection to knowledge, both for ourselves and for the person we're asking.
I like that. Asking questions is a form of bridge building.
Yes.
But it's not always easy, is it? How do we encourage that kind of open dialogue and respectful debate in a world that often feels so polarized?
It takes courage, certainly.
Yeah.
But it also requires a willingness to listen deeply, to truly hear and understand perspectives that differ from our own.
Right.
And sometimes it even means being willing to sit with the discomfort of not having all the answers.
That resonates with me. I know I can get pretty attached to my own opinions sometimes.
Sure.
But maybe that's part of the learning process too, right?
Sure.
Recognizing that our understanding of the world is constantly evolving.
Exactly. And that's where the real excitement lies, because when we approach learning with a sense of humility and curiosity, we open ourselves up to a world of infinite possibilities.
It's amazing how Rabbi Haber takes this ancient text and makes it feel so relevant to the challenges we face, even today.
It speaks to the timelessness of these teachings, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Even thousands of years later, we're still grappling with the same fundamental questions about how to connect with knowledge, with each other, and with something, larger than ourselves.
Yeah, and what I appreciate about Rabbi Haber's approach is that he doesn't shy away from the hard questions.
Okay.
How do we actually live out this idea of being witnesses to each other's growth? It's easy to talk about,
Right.
but what does it actually look like in our day-to-day lives?
Well, I think he offers some clues when he highlights that phrase, from your wood chopper to your water drawer. It's not just about, acknowledging these different professions, but these different ways of thinking, these different approaches to problem solving.
Right. So maybe it's about recognizing that we all have something unique to contribute to, like the collective pool of knowledge, even if those contributions look really different from our own.
Exactly. We can't all be wood choppers, and we can't all be water drawers.
Right.
We need both and everything in between to create a truly vibrant and resilient tapestry of understanding.
Right.
Imagine a world where we celebrated those differences instead of letting them divide us.
That's a powerful image, but how do we get there? How do we move from a place of division and distrust to one of mutual respect and collaboration, especially when it comes to something as potentially contentious as knowledge and belief?
Yeah, I think it starts with these small acts of courage.
Okay.
Right? Like choosing to engage in a difficult conversation with someone who sees the world differently than we do, asking questions instead of just making assumptions,
Right.
being willing to listen with an open heart and an open mind.
And maybe being willing to admit when we're wrong, or at least when we don't have all the answers.
Precisely. Humility is so essential in this process.
Yeah.
Recognizing that none of us has a monopoly on truth, and that the pursuit of knowledge is this ongoing journey, not a destination.
It really resonates with me. Sometimes I get so caught up in trying to be right
Sure.
that I miss out on the opportunity to actually learn and grow from perspectives that challenge my own.
And that's where the real magic happens, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we allow ourselves to be surprised, to have our assumptions challenged, and to emerge from those encounters with, a richer, more nuanced understanding of the world and our place in it.
It's like Rabbi Haber is reminding us that the pursuit of knowledge shouldn't be about building walls, but about building bridges.
Yes.
Bridges between people, between ideas, and between the past and the present.
And ultimately, I think those bridges lead us back to ourselves, don't they? To a deeper understanding of who we are, why we're here, and what we're capable of achieving together.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And on that note, I think we'll leave our listeners with this final thought. How can you be a bridge builder in your own life? What small acts of courage can you take today to connect with knowledge, with others, and with your own unique potential?
Keep those questions alive, and you'll be well on your way to unlocking a world of possibilities.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yes, thank you.
Until next time, stay curious. Ever feel like some ancient wisdom could help you unlock your potential today?